Let's take this up with David Monyae, Associate Professor of Political Science and International Relations at the University of Johannesburg. Good to have you on The Full View, sir. So let's start first with your reading of this unfolding situation at OR Tambo tonight.
Well, it's quite disturbing, and I think the best way is to await the investigation. I think the investigation should be carried at two fronts. One is domestically, that this is a government of national unity, whether it is speaking with one voice or not, given the fact that our foreign policy is under ANC, while the Home Affairs under DA. We need to understand whether there were any implication based on that or not. At the second front of investigation is the circumstances in which they left. Whether the Israelis' allegation made by other NGO bodies that claim it was a deliberate move, whether that is true or not. But in a normal circumstance, any plane that takes off going to another country, there are lots of communication. You know who is coming into your country, and the circumstance in which, and therefore it's quite shocking that the government did not know the circumstances in which they came. And therefore, I think at this stage, circumstances and on the eve of G20, it's just a wait and see. However, I think the government has to improve communication to ensure that the public is quite aware before the arrival of groups such as.
And to be clear, we don't yet know how much the South African government knows about the unfolding situation. We're going in the main on a statement from Gift of the Givers that says government was aware, or the International Relations Department was aware, and that there'd been, according to the organization, some sort of agreement to waive the requirement around the necessary stamps when you depart a foreign country to be allowed to get into South Africa, right? But given that context, does that put the South African government on the back foot regarding this situation and how it's going to unfold, or at least, at the very least, be perceived?
Yeah, and if that is the case, it's even a worst case, because it appears that the government is not speaking with one voice. And under normal circumstances, if the Foreign Affairs, DERCO in this particular, it's a lead department, if it has allowed for them to come in, it works with Home Affairs. And therefore, there shouldn't have been any technical issue, given the fact that there is a humanitarian issue here. And therefore, I think it's good for South Africa to accept the refugees, but the communication remains a major challenge. You have to inform the public and way ahead of time so that we're not surprised, and facilitate the arrival so that these issues is not handled by any ordinary officer, but a special passage is created for them to come in without spending 10 hours at the airport.
Some of the people on board this aircraft were told might want to move on to another country where they might seek admission as asylum seekers. But for those who want to be admitted to South Africa under the same sort of classification, does the South African government have any other choice but to allow them to settle in the country as asylum seekers? And ultimately, I wonder if this is going to be the ultimate test of South Africa's solidarity with the Palestinian people.
Oh, there's that part, but way beyond that, I think the South African government needs to have cleared all issues and questions that you are posing before they even come. And these are some of the issues that need to be investigated, and a clear explanation is given by a much more senior person from government. The circumstances, whether the Israeli government did it deliberately as a sabotage or not, or it's just a mistake. These things do happen time and time again, but to avoid future scenarios such as this, there is a need of a thorough and clear explanation by a senior government official.
How do you explain the Israeli government apparently having allowed a group of Palestinians to fly, get into an airport, leave Gaza, first of all, we're told, through the Karem Shalom crossing, reach an airport, and then ultimately fly to South Africa, and apparently deliberately, according to Gift of the Givers, not stamp their passport? Does that not strike you as odd when you consider how tightly controlled Palestinian movement has been by the Israeli government post the October 7th attacks by Hamas in Gaza specifically, but even in areas like the occupied territories more broadly?
If this is proven to be true, it's just yet another example of the abuse of Palestinians. It's human rights abuse. And it's not just a case of South Africa. I think it is a humanitarian, and therefore there is international law that applies, United Nations, and so many other agencies. And therefore, the matter has to be investigated to avoid a recurrence of the situation, not just to South Africa, to any other receiving nation.
David Monyae, good to talk to you. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Associate Professor with the University of Johannesburg, speaking to us on The Full View.